Okay, hang on. Okay, so alright, so this seems like a good test to find out how well the desktop streaming to YouTube works out. Just the bad hard drive that I took out the bedroom computer, it's in the drive caddy, right? So I've got this little program. It's a batch program. It looks for 0-byte files. So this batch file looks for any 0-byte files, and it moves them to my other drive, which is F-temp, which is a temporary drive on my F drive. So what I'm going to do is put this batch file, the bad drive on a bad sector. So this is the drive, if you remember, that I actually recovered the documents onto the other drive. Now you'll only be seeing this at about 2 frames per second. I set it to 2 frames per second, but that's good enough for what I'm doing. We're not watching anyone moving around, we're just watching what I'm doing on here, because my CPU is a bit heavily throttled. That's working, I should be alright. I'm just going to check Ubuntu. Oh, wrong one. Live streaming my desktop. So let's go and run this batch file. Now in F-temp, let's check that at the moment. Oh look, there's actually 2 0-byte files in there at the moment. There's a voice 02 and then Zorin virtual machine, which is 0 kilobyte. Now I don't know where I've got that from, but I'm just going to stick that. Actually, I'll delete them. Right, just delete them. The junk. So what happens is when a drive fails and a bad block occurs, any data that's written to a bad block that can't store the data, you need 0-byte files, which it's like a container in it. So is run this 0-byte files on that drive. When it finds them, it will move them to F-temp, which is over there, and we can go and have a look and see what we can see what files were actually damaged on that bedroom computer. Do you remember in the previous video I run System File Checker, SFC, to restore any corrupt DLL files or executable files in Windows XP on the other machine. So this will actually, it won't find everything that's corrupt or damaged. For example, if there's a file and it's several chains long, several blocks long, there might be a big chunk, but it might not necessarily me to see is that any 0-byte chunks which get moved to F-temp, it will give me a good indication as to what area of the operating system the damage was caused to. It's clunking along, that drive. I can hear it clicking. This might take a little while. I can't pause it because I'm live. All being well, it's going live anyway. I just wanted to say a few things about why I've not been live or doing any YouTube videos much lately, but apart from the fact that I'm struggling a bit with money, and it's just yeah, there's been stuff happening. Well, I best not say anything about it because yeah. Anyway, something happened in town, and I was a witness to it, and basically, and yeah, it just caused me some issues. Well, when you witness a crime, or you know what I mean, it's something that upsets you a bit. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I don't know how long this. What's that thumping? Somebody banging around up there. So anyway, let's see what happens. I wonder if it's moving anything to F10. Oh my. Do you? That is how bad that drive was. Is rather still. All of these files are 0 byte, which means they haven't got any data in them. That's how serious that drive was. There's no wonder it wouldn't boot up properly. It had a host MYD, index data, internet services. Look at all these files it's just recovered, moved. Give you a bigger icons because I'm not sure. Well, oh, the battery's finished. Right. Obviously, all of these files are 0 bytes, so there's nothing in them. This is how bad that drive was. It was completely messed up. If there's a video, an MPG video there, that's 0 bytes as well. And that was Q title. Cookies text is blank. Let's see if we can find any DLLs. I'll go back to list view. I don't know if I can set this. Let me set this by type because it should still have the extensions. Yeah, it does. So if we scroll down, well, let's just zoom in. Have a look. This file it's 0. Some of them files might be to do with yeah, spybot, ignore list. Those are 0 byted as well. Spybot, search and destroy to remove malware. Config sys but on older Windows systems it would. There's a bunch of text files. I haven't. The only trouble with this method of extracting the 0 byte files is, don't forget, if you've got a DLL file and it's like 100 megabytes or 100 kilobytes or something, it could, part of it might still exist, so it won't be 0 byte, but the other part that was 0 byte, obviously it'll be contained inside the whole file. So this little batch program using that code won't necessarily find it, but it'll be corrupt. It'll still be in the operating system. I'm not sure of checking files. That is checksum, but you have is, you know, there's a check, and that basically tells you how many bytes it should be. So this is all the files that come off that bad drive. That were damaged. So yeah, it was in a hell of a state. So the next step is to partition out. Do you remember that screenshot I took? It's on D. I took a screenshot of the bad sectors. Where is it? It's that one. Right. This the drive again, but you can see that there is a bad block right at the first part, and I said at the time that looks like it'd be around 25 gig, and there's also a bad block right in the bottom there, and it's an 80 gig drive, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that partition. I'll show you how. I need to check to make sure my live stream is working okay. According to this, so do is minimize that, and I'm gonna hopefully it won't crash my live stream. So you remember I recovered the documents from this drive, which was that partition, but I didn't bother with this WinXP because it was corrupt. So what I need to do now is delete that partition. So I'll delete it for deletion. But before doing that, the bad block. So if I create partition, right, and if I go to let's try going to, I think actually I need to be, I said 25 as a guess, didn't I? Now I'm looking at this scale, it's looking more like 12 gig. So I'm going to go to around 12 gigabytes. We call that I'll just data one, right? Area past this line here. So if I zoom in, it'll be just a little bit outside, but I can still move that tail. I can move that further in if I actually happen to catch it. So I'm going to create another partition over here. I'll click OK. Right. Now I'm going to create another partition over here. Now I would say, now remember there was a bad block at the end of this drive, so I'm going to move that back a bit because it's right at the end. That other bad block is right at the end. And I'll move this one to, let's go to about, right, click on OK. So with a bit of luck, and I can resize this if I need to do, the unallocated part there will contain the bad block or the bad area of the disk. So I'm going to, we have another unallocated section at the end, which is about 1 gigabyte. I'm not sure if that's big enough, but we'll find out, and I'll show you how in a minute. But I'm going to click apply. Block should be in this unallocated sector. Now to find out if it is that blood in that area, I'm going to do a surface test of the unallocated section right now. With a bit of luck, the bad block will actually be in this section. If I've got it right. I could have worked it out, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to guess, and I can always move the allocate this. I can always resize that partition if I need to do. If I'm lucky, it'll be right in the middle somewhere. Looking, it might be in the partition that I created, which means I have to move that slider a bit to trim it out. I just want to check my CPU. Ooh, I'm at 99%. I'm hoping it doesn't throttle my live stream. I'll check my live stream. It seems to be working. That bad block is still in my data 1 section. Looks like it is. I close that out. You see, I'm not going to scan this, it'll take twice as long because it's bigger, so I'm going to resize that. Move, resize. So the bad block is still in here, and I'm going to move it back to about, I'm going to 10 gig. Seems a nice number. Alright, now let's check this unallocated again, because now the bad block was probably in there, and that's a 5.2 gigabyte unallocated area. So right click, service test. Where the hell is that bad block? It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. realize something. A drive. This drive map that I did. This drive map is for the whole drive, so that block could be, yeah, it could be actually a lot further in than I realized. I'll find out in a minute. So drive maps, I'm doing these scans for small areas of the data. Alright, let's cancel this, so I've just had an idea. I'll have bought that, and I'll show you why. I have got a feeling that the bad block that I'm looking for is in this data 2 section. It could well be in the data 2 section. So let's scan this one. Lost it then. I bet you it's near the beginning of the day. It seems to be every so often a block takes a bit longer to scan. It's stuttering there a bit. So yeah, I think we're close to the bad block. It'll probably hover on that bad block for quite a long time. So the bad block could be in data 2. The end of the disk, so that second bad block was actually in documents, which was on the other partition, which is I haven't deleted yet. And that's what threw me out. I should have deleted the documents directory as well, and it would have been a lot easier to work out how far to move that slider, because I've already retrieved the documents off this drive, so everything on this drive can be deleted now. So it's probably, I bet we hit that red one. So I hope you can hear me alright, because I'm using my phone. Instead of the video camera on the phone, I'm just using the microphone to capture the audio. So there's no huge delays or advancements on the video and all that stuff, so it should be fairly much in sync. So sorry it's taking a while, but it's Once I know where that bad block is, I'll have a rough idea of how to move that slider to trim it out. I'll do it by percentage. It's good enough for me. It's worked before. I actually have a drive I took out of a laptop, and it had bad blocks in it, and they were right at the end. So lucky for me, all I had to do was trim the drive, the last 5 gigabytes out, so that bit wasn't used. The drive still used. It's useful for, and it works. Aha! Here we go. I think it's found it. It's found it. Look, it's got stuck. Look, it's got stuck. It can't read that block. It's trying. I can see the light on the hard drive flickering. It keeps trying again and again and again to read that block, and it can't. I don't know how many times it'll try to read that block, but there you go. That's the bad block. So we know that it's I would say that's 1/3. 1/3. So that's 40%, is it? 40, 80, 5%, 35. I'd say 35% up. So I don't need to continue scanning because I found it. It's about 35% up. So I'll stop the scan. So this drive is at 21 gigabyte, right? Calculator up. I'm going to punch in 20, divide by so about 8. I'll go up to 8 gigabytes. I'll knock 8 gigabytes off that. So if I so what are we at? I'm going to copy that. Punch that into my that gives me that value, so I'm going to copy that. Oops. Oh shucks. Hang on. That was a decimal point on it. I did it wrong. Hang on a minute. Let me just try this again. Oh, hang on. Copy that again. I'm not sure if I did it right. Paste. To oh, this is in megabyte. Right, minus 8,000 equals, that's more like it. Copy that. Paste that in there. Uh-oh. it might take it off the end. Let me just check that. Oh, bugger it. I'm just going to move the slider because it might take it off the end. I don't want it to take it off the end. I want to take it off the beginning. Let me just go down to what it says on here. It says 30.3. Move that to the end actually, because it's that other bad block is on the other E drive. It's not on here, so I'll move that to the end. So that's gives us 14.57 gigabyte. Click OK. Click apply. Okay, right. So if I'm right, the unallocated section here got the bad block in it. Oh. Till about there. Click apply. So now that bad block should be in this 2.2 gigabyte unallocated. So I'm going to scan that. And if that bad block is in here, I've won. I'm hoping somewhere in the middle. We never want to use that bad block ever again. Ha ha ha! Yes! It's got stuck right in the middle. Well, not exactly in the middle, but near enough. Yeah, definitely it, because it can't read that block. It's a bad block that causes to get lost and destroyed. There. But this drive can be used now for other stuff, as long as I don't format it and forget. But I won't, because I've left the label on it saying bad drive on it. So that's how you can reuse your old drives that have got bad blocks on them. You just partition out the bad area and leave a good amount of space either side, because chances are them blocks around it are not very good either. There we go. So we have one bad block isolated. So, and if I look at that, I can still pinch a bit more space if I want to do. For example, these other drives, I could nudge that a bit more this way, and I could nudge that one a bit more this way. Now, documents, we know that's got a bad, so that wants to be sized. But one we do, because one it will be when I click apply, and I'm going to resize it. Oh, I'm going to create a new partition. I'm going to call it documents again anyway. Right, and I'm going to snip the end off that about I'll leave it there. It's the size of that will be 36.96 gigabyte. So I'll click OK. and it says unallocated 2.1 gigabytes, right? So I'll click up. So right, all being well, the other bad block should be in this unallocated block at the end. So if I scan that, the other bad block should be right near the end of this drive. Now, it should be somewhere around here somewhere. Huh. Oh, well, that works for me. Bad block is like a black hole. Everything, every bit of data you throw in it just disappears forever. Yeah. So that other part of the drive which was bad is also isolated as well. And it's only in a 2.1 gigabyte area, so this whole area that we're looking at is 2.1. It's not even the size of half that. Technically, a DVD is. So anyway, now what I can do is, if I want to do this, close that out. These two partitions here, this one and this one, all of this is good. So what I can do is delete data to so 2.2 gigabytes unallocated there, right? So if I delete this, right, one big drive there. Or and somewhere. I think that'll be about right. It doesn't tell me how much space. I'll just check it. Ah, I can go a bit more. So that's a 50 gigabyte partition now. Yeah, it's 2.9 gigabyte unallocated now. Well, that'll do. So I've got a 20.5 gigabyte partition and I've got a 50 gigabyte partition which I can use for putting data on. I'll just click apply. All done. So that bad block should be in this area now. I'll just double check to make sure I haven't accidentally put it on my other drive, because you want to be careful. And it should be around the middle still. It might actually be a little bit further down. It's found it. That's actually further up. It's confusing when you're doing this stuff. I mean, yeah, obviously if I put more space on the end of it, it would move it further up, wouldn't it? You got to think three-dimensionally in all this stuff. It's kind of gives you a headache. Yeah, anyway, I think I'm all good now. I think this drive, I can use it now for putting some data on, backups and that. It'll come in useful for backing my hard drive images on. But as I said in the earlier, it's not going to be my go-to drive. It's not something I'm on the line with it. You know what I mean? And interestingly, the smart status for that drive is that it's, you wouldn't believe it, it's only 9 days old. That drive has only had 224 hours on it. That's all, and that's a Mac Store failure. It's been booted up 1,165 times. That is probably the reason why when I put it back in that machine it's bad. I bad smart status error. I thought, how can it be bad after just 9 days? But yeah, look at the reallocated sector count. Let me just highlight it. Unbelievable. Right. So yeah, the bad block is right there. And it'll take longer because it's much bigger now, but it's worth doing for peace of mind. So in Windows or whatever you plug it into, it will not see unallocated sectors unless you use a disk manager tool. Those are on partition space, which means it won't be used. The only drive letters that will show up are the ones that I've just fixed. You have 2 drive letters on it. Block the drive, so let's have a look. It shouldn't show up there. Yeah, it's got a question mark over it right now. That's because the drive has been formatted and changed, and the master boot record's been updated, and it won't show up with any drive letters until I actually reboot that drive, or this mini tool basically releases it and makes it public again, or accessible again, because it's currently locked, so only this program can actually monitor it. That otherwise it would cause all sorts of Windows crazy, like drive letters jumping around, and so yeah. And so I don't have to keep my feet wrapped up in a blanket, because my feet get freezing. my heating's not high, you see, it's really low down right now, and it's like walking on that skating rink, whatever you call it. I don't know. I felt a little bit out of it just lately. Well, I've just been... Nothing good's happening now, it's just very depressing. Now we've got fruit shortages at the moment, but according to certain people on the internet, sorry, news, they say it's not a shortage. Well, if you can't buy it, it's a frigging shortage. Mike Graham was saying on top radio, they used to do this little segment on in the radio in the mornings, and it was called Day. He used to make fun out, you know. I mean, you can't say there isn't a shortage if you can't buy it. I don't know. The world's gone crazy. He said it's to do with delivery chains. Well, we've had this before in the 70s when there were a lot of strikes going on, and we're having strikes going on now actually everywhere. I'm just feeling waiting for this flipping scan to complete. I might as well just check to see if the live stream's good. I can close that out now because that's no longer valid. Let's check. Live stream's working. Yeah. Switch. It's nice. It's cool to be able to switch between Ubuntu and XP like this, and still be able to live stream what I'm doing on XP. This is a good test, to be honest, because when I start doing my 3D modeling again, when I start doing my 3D modeling for the new designs that I'm working on to do with the free energy research, it means that it'll work. It means that I can actually live stream it and show you what I'm doing in the model. But SketchUp does use more bigger overhead, because look at my CPU, right? Oh my god, what's this? There's a big gap here. I/O bytes. What's that gap about? I hope my live stream didn't get interrupted for a brief amount of time. In I/O bytes, there's a big gap. What the hell happened there? Did my live stream stop? Must have done. Hope it's still working anyway. I/O bytes is what data's going in and out, so that could have been. But my CPU was maximised, so I don't know what that was. Oh, network. It looks like I had a network outage. There's a big gap there. My internet must have gone off. But I'm hoping my live stream's still working, because there might have been a huge gap there. So if there's a big chunk of me talking and it just cut off, gone back for ages, that is why. My internet must have been out offline. Which is not good. So let me just double check my live stream again. I'm sending out 2,600 kilobytes per second. I don't know what's going on. So apologies if my live stream cut out. Actually, how long is that before it scrolls off the end? Does it tell me? How many minutes is that? Oh, this might have been streaming to the OBS, maybe. Sure. Kilobytes per second are going out. Now, if you look at the kilobytes per second, it says 49 kilobytes a second. So this is how much data my VLC is sending out to OBS. So OBS might have frozen up for, I don't know how long. It didn't say at the bottom of here how long that is. But I would say that's probably a couple of minutes. Seems to be alright at the moment. Yeah, I'll leave that graph up. I want to know if it drops out again. So yeah, I'm sorry about that if you were wondering what happened to my video feed. Looks like this drive is going to check out, and it should do, because we've isolated them two bad blocks. I'm not going to scan the other partition as well. I just want to scan the first one because that was the worst one, really. I mean, the other bad block was right at the end of the drive, and the chances of me using that area anyway as zilch right now because it's out of the picture, as they say. The other bad block is in between, so that should be out of the picture. What's my temperature doing at my computer CPU? Oh, 74C. Ooh. I need to get better cooling on my computer. Oh, I did some research the other day on my motherboard for my main computer. I actually bought this motherboard. I actually built this computer after buying the new motherboard, and I bought the memory and everything. That was around 20. Been a bit before 2017. It might have been 2016. I can't remember the exact date when I bought it. Well, I was curious. I thought, well, what happens if this motherboard dies on me? What if this computer ever goes wrong, right? And I thought, I wonder how much they are now, these motherboards, if I had to replace it, right? So I did a search on eBay and on Amazon. They're like 200 quid. I can't believe it. I mean, when I bought the motherboard, it was like, I think it was about 60 quid, right? Brand new, 60 quid or something like that. But they've gone way up in price. They're all second hand as well. They must be really good motherboards because everybody wants them. And the prices were ranging between £80 to Now, I'm not sure why it's so popular. It might be because something to do with the fact that the BIOS has got a VM virtual mode in it, which protects it from... Oh, look at that. No errors. Cool. So, yeah. We're good. We can use the drive for something now. So if I get rid of this, get rid of that. Now if I close the bad blocks in there and in there, and these are good usable partitions now. And actually, what did I make them? Did I make them logical? Oh yeah, I made them logical. Right, that's fine. I didn't make them primary, so that's okay, because they're only for... So I might have to reject it. Yeah, I'm going to have to reject it first. Reject the other one. Right, when I switch it, when I connect it, we should have two drive letters pop up there. We have data 1, empty. We have documents, empty. All good. So if I go to my other program, I don't think I double click that. Go to check disk and select data 1 and that one, and go details, start check. So yeah, that brings an end to the live stream. So you could work out yourself how to fix your own drives if you have bad blocks. The only trouble is if you've got bad blocks scattered all over the place, like every 2 or 3 gigabytes, I would put it in the bin. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Oh, there's a huge lag on here.